Now available in paperback and Kindle Unlimited. Esteem a New Woman. The devilish diva starts on the road to becoming a new creature in Christ in this all-new Esteem series adventure. Get your copy of Esteem a New Woman at Amazon.com in paperback and Kindle Unlimited today. A Dollar General manager was fatally shot and killed as she rung up an order of hamburger buns for $1.58.
Topping our news, the manager of a Columbus Dollar General store is dead tonight after police say a customer shot her after a small purchase, then later opened fire on police at a separate scene.
That would lead to an officer-involved shooting that left the suspect dead and a police officer and K-9 officer injured. Police reporting tonight that the officer has been treated and is expected to make a full recovery, while the K-9 is still being treated. Tonight, we're learning the identity of the suspect as well. News Leader 9's Gabriella Johnson following this story and joins us now live from our newsroom.
And Gabriella, a lot of folks expressing condolences to the family of this Dollar General employee who was shot and killed. What reaction are you hearing tonight?
Well, Jason and Barbara, investigators say that 44-year-old store manager Alexis Hill was shot and killed late this morning. Now new tonight, the coroner has identified the gunman as 33-year-old Jerome Willis, who was later shot and killed by police after officers say he opened fire on them and a K-9 named Havoc. Hill's family is asking for respect and privacy at this time for the mother of 3 boys. Columbus police say it started inside this Dollar General on Victory Drive just after 10 o'clock this morning. According to Muskogee County Coroner Buddy Bryan, a man came in to buy hamburger buns, $1.58, and handed manager Alexis Hill 2 crumpled $1 bills. He straightened the cash. Bryan says the customer stepped to the side, pulled a gun, and shot her. Bryan pronouncing 44-year-old Alexis Hill dead around 10:45.
She's a sweet person, so I don't know who would do something like that. It's just crazy. Their job, she would work her entire butt off for their job, though.
Police say the gunman ran, and a short time later, they tracked him to a second scene near Baker Plaza Drive. At the second scene, Columbus police say the suspect shot an officer and a K-9, and officers returned fire, killing him. He's been identified as 33-year-old Jerome Willis. The GBI is now investigating the officer-involved shooting, but officials say there is no ongoing threat to the public. In a written statement, Alexis's brother is asking people not to use her photos or videos without the family's permission and to report any fake fundraisers or posts trying to profit from her death. He says the family is grateful for the prayers but wants privacy and for her memory to be honored with dignity as friends and coworkers mourn a woman they say lit up the store every day. And as we mentioned, the GBI is the lead on this case now, and police haven't released any more history or possible motive for the 33-year-old Jerome Willis. Live in the newsroom, Gabriella Johnson for WTVM News Leader 9.
Such a tragic story, and certainly we'll continue to follow this and get updates for people tomorrow and throughout the week. All right, Gabriella, thank you. We're also
Now, according to reports, Alexis Hill was the manager of a Dollar General store in Georgia. And as she was working the register in that Dollar General store, she eventually wound up being confronted by a customer, 33-year-old Jerome Willis. Now, Jerome Willis had a bag of hamburger buns and was looking to purchase those buns, and Alexis Hill then scanned and rang up his order that came out to $1.58. Now, Jerome Willis then took out 2 crumpled $1 bills to pay for the buns, and as she was straightening out the cash, this is where Jerome Willis allegedly stepped aside, pulled out a gun, and then wound up shooting Alexis Hill. And after he wound up shooting Alexis Hill, he then fled the Dollar General store. Now, Alexis Hill was then taken to the hospital and sadly was pronounced dead at about 10:45 a.m. Meanwhile, police were on the hunt for Jerome Willis, and as they were on the hunt for Jerome Willis, they eventually wound up confronting Jerome Willis. And as they confronted Jerome Willis, police did give him commands to basically surrender by dropping the gun, but he wound up shooting a officer's police dog, and as he shot at the police, and as eventually police then got into a shootout with Jerome Willis, they then returned fire, and as they returned fire, Jerome Willis wound up losing his life at the location he was confronted at. Now, the police in Columbus, Georgia, are seeing this as an isolated incident. However, when I take a critical examination of the actions of Jerome Willis, they definitely fit within the pattern and profile of men in crisis that I talk about in my book, The Man Crisis. Now, what's really sad about this whole situation is that Jerome Willis wound up taking the life of Alexis Hill for absolutely no reason whatsoever, and as a result of his impulsive actions, this mother of 3 and grandmother of 2 is no longer with us, and no longer with us for absolutely any reason at all, because this woman did nothing to provoke this man. This woman did not start any argument with this man or start any dispute with this man. She just simply looked to ring up this man's order for $1.58, and this man responded impulsively by taking out this firearm and shooting this woman. Now, what I find to be quite troubling about this whole situation is that this guy, Jerome Willis, already had a lengthy police record from about 2007 on, and according to some reports, had a history of mental health problems. However, he was able to still be roaming the streets, and what is even more scary to me is that this man was able to get access to a firearm and was able to still be on these streets with his alleged mental health issues and still have access to this firearm. That's the more troubling thing to me, that this man basically was not in a facility where he could be supervised or be taken care of. No, what happened was this Jerome Willis wound up falling through the cracks, and as he fell through the cracks as related to our broken mental health system, which basically relies on the criminal justice system to basically deal with mental health ever since Ronald Reagan basically closed all the mental health facilities, is that as a result, men like this become a clear and present danger to a society. That's what happened here as related to Jerome Willis. This man was a clear and present danger, and that whole situation was further exacerbated by this man basically, again, being released from the jail and then also having access to a firearm. I mean, I don't know what's going on with Georgia, our supposedly red state, but they clearly fucked up at this point, because this man should have never been put out of jail or any facility, because if he had mental health issues, he should have been, again, locked down and supervised so that he couldn't do harm to people like Alexis Hill. Again, this sister, all she was doing was just trying to go out here and get through a day of her job. That's all this sister was trying to do. And all of that basically led to the end of her life, just looking to ring up this customer who was supposedly looking to buy some hamburger buns, but there was something else going on in their head. Now, that's the scary part about this whole situation. The scary part about it is that nobody knew how dangerous this guy, Jerome Willis, was. No, that's the scary part about dealing with guys like this, is that you don't know what's going on in their heads. You don't know what they're going to do. And the sad part is that there were people who did know how dangerous this guy was, and none of those people ever took an effort to say, hey, we need to do something to contain this man so that he can go out here and, 1, be in a place where he can be supervised, 2, be in a place where he can get the help that he needs. I mean, I look at this whole situation and it really is quite troubling, because it shows how little regard we have for the mentally ill in our society, and most people don't want to do anything about them until it's too late, that's the scary part about it, is that, again, this guy was walking around as a ticking time bomb, and he was walking around as a ticking time bomb carrying a loaded firearm. And as he was carrying this loaded firearm, sadly, nobody knew how dangerous this guy was until he took the life of this sister, who was a mother of 3 and a grandmother of 3, and then sadly wound up losing his own life, because the only way that we deal with the mentally ill, sadly, in our society is to let law enforcement deal with these individuals. And as law enforcement deals with these individuals, they're not looking to give a person who's a man in crisis like this the care that they need. No, what they have to do in many cases is that they have to wind up taking the life of this individual in order to save other people, as this person is a clear and present danger. And again, I can't get upset at the police in this case. I just get more upset at the family of Jerome Willis that possibly, again, gave this guy access to a firearm, or whoever gave this person access to a firearm. This guy, again, never should have had access to that firearm. But this is the sad state of affairs as related to our country, as related to dealing with the mentally ill. And the mentally ill, sadly, are a part of the men in crisis in our country. And some of it is due to many of these men going out here and smoking up marijuana. Some of them is due to that in some cases. But I look at this whole case, and it's a great tragedy, just that this woman, again, sadly wound up losing her life. I don't believe over $1.58. It was that she ran into this mentally disturbed man at the absolute worst time. She ran into this guy, and as she ran into this guy, something went on in his head, and he wanted to hurt this woman who did nothing to him at all, did not do anything except look to straighten out his money. That's all this woman looked to do as related to this male. And this male basically shows us the clear and present danger of men in crisis, and how these men in crisis can basically destroy the lives of people around them if we don't go out here and intervene in these situations by getting these men the help that they need. If we don't go out here and get these men the help that they need, what happens is that they go out here and do harm to other people in society, and they create great tragedies just like this one. Now, if you want to learn how to identify the behavior of one of these types of men in crisis so that you can get them some help, you can pick up my book, The Man Crisis, on Amazon.com in paperback and Kindle format. You can also find The Man Crisis at other online booksellers like Draft to Digital, Google Play, Barnes & Noble, and big box retailers like Walmart and Target. And if you want to see me make more videos talking about The Man Crisis, you can drop a donation to the Patreon, the PayPal, or the Cash App by clicking the links in the description box. That's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, and subscribe. Now available in paperback and e-readers, John Haynes, An Offer He Can't Refuse. The man who rules the world gets a job offer he can't refuse in this action-packed all-new John Haynes series adventure. Get your copy of John Haynes, An Offer He Can't Refuse at Amazon.com and other online booksellers. Support Black-owned and Black-operated digital broadcast media. www.niceradionetwork.com. Nice Radio Network, broadcasting 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.